Hello and welcome to the dotCMS 2026 Winter Products Webinar. I'm Marc Boutillette, part of the product management team here at dotCMS, and we're super excited to show you all the cool stuff that we're going to be working on in 2026. We'll start off with the big picture, our vision and roadmap for 2026, and then we'll jump into a couple of features that were released recently, including our Shopify integration, and then the content palette and the content style editor. And then we'll showcase a few things we're working on right now, including the content drive, edit content screen, and the Prime NG update, as well as content analytics. Then we'll look at the future of visual editing at dotCMS and finish up with an update from our infrastructure team and a live Q&A. Of course, you'll see some dates on our roadmap and throughout. Please don't take these as hard commitments to deliver functionality on a specific date. And lastly, we'd love to hear from you. As we go through the presentations, please use the chat, and we'll answer as many questions as we can as we go. But there'll be a live Q&A at the end, so we can finish up answering questions, answer new questions, and take comments. And then, of course, all the recordings for the winter webinar will be available on our website and on our YouTube channel. So thanks very much for attending, and let's get going.
Hello, my name is Freddy Montes. I'm VP of Product here at dotCMS, and welcome to the Winter Webinar of 2026. In 2026, we're focusing on three things: making content authoring faster and more intuitive, making AI deliver real results for content operations, and making sure that the platform stays rock solid as you grow. So let me walk you through what's coming in each quarter. So for Q1 2026, this is our foundation and momentum. We're starting the year strong with foundational work that sets the stage for everything else. One of the key deliveries is our content drive that's moving into production readiness. It's been in beta for a while. This is a unified asset management that brings folders, files, and content together into one intelligent workspace. You can think about it like a file manager, but for content teams. You can filter by page, but you can filter per content, files, widget. You can navigate folders visually. You can preview assets instantly without having to load the full editor. You can organize things with drag and drop, so you don't have to jump between browser, content search, and any other custom portlets. Also, we are completing our Angular Prime NG upgrade. This was a big one, and thanks all the team that put this together. This isn't just a visual refresh, right? It's fundamentally changed how fast we can build UI. And how precise we can be on it. You'll see this translate into faster feature deliveries and more polished experiences across the entire application. We still have a little bit of work to do there, but we're getting really, really close. Another one, and one of my favorites, the Universal Visual Editor gets a powerful new canvas capabilities. Now you have zoom controls, you have in-context editing, so you don't have to go to the edit content screen. You can do it right there. The same with layout editing functionalities. Now, as a content creator, you can adjust the layout, you can edit the content, you can see the changes in real time. This is combined with a new style editor, and all this without leaving the context of the page that you're working on. The new custom field API. As part of our work towards the new edit content experience coming in Q2, we're releasing a completely new custom field API. This is fully vanilla JavaScript and CSS. No frameworks, no dependencies, no library logged in. Developers can just write regular modern JavaScript and all the benefits that come to it. For example, ES modules, async away, native web components. This opened the door to easier integration with cleaner code, and something really exciting, you have better AI assistance when you are generating code for these custom fields. You know, if you built custom fields before, and you got to fought the framework's constraint. And for this is just a fresh new start. By the end of Q1, you'll have a modernized UI that accelerates our development, production-ready content drive, an enhanced visual editing experience, and a new custom field API that makes extending dotCMS, well, simpler than ever. So for Q2, AI that works your way, right? Q2 is where AI becomes a real differentiator for dotCMS. Number one, we're launching dotCMS Analytics. For the first time, content teams will be able to see content performance like page view, conversions, engagement directly within dotCMS. You don't need to switch tools anymore. And along with that, we're launching the multi-provider for AI. We are opening up AI capabilities by launching the multi-provider support. That means that you are not locked in only to OpenAI. You can connect any provider. You can connect Amazon Bedrock, Google Vertex, Microsoft Azure, or your enterprise approved AI service. It's your choice, it's your control. And we build this with a framework called LangChain, which is more or less the standard in the industry right now for this kind of support. So brand and voice governance. So AI only works in the enterprise world if you can control it. So you can configure here your brand voice once and it applies everywhere. Your AI assistant content will match your tone, terminology, style guidelines, all of that automatically. And with our governance layer, the AI generated content will meet your brand standards and compliance requirements. This is basically like you can modify the system prompt for .ai. Industry compliance checkers. So built-in a compliance validation for your industry. Like content authors can get real-time feedback on issues before they actually gets published. Whether that's a WCAG accessibility or GDPR for privacy requirements or HIPAA for healthcare or FINRA/SEC for financial services, we're building a framework that will adapt to your regulatory environment. So Q2 will deliver analytics, AI that works your way with the providers that you choose, and compliance tools that will fit your industry. So for Q3, we're coming on our content operations and scales. Q3 is about giving content operation teams the superpowers and ensuring that the platform is scale for the enterprise demands. More block editor improvement. We'll continue to evolving the block editor with next generation authoring capabilities. It needs to be more intuitive, more powerful, and it needs to be designed, and it works on how content teams actually works today. We're planning the editorial calendar where you can plan and schedule content across all your sites. So the editorial calendar will give you visibility into what is published and when across all your sites and channels. You can orchestrate content across your entire organization. And along with that, the content operation dashboard. This is a single view showing what you own within dotCMS. What is assigned to you, what needs your action and your attention, what workflow status your content is. It's a complete operational visibility for content teams, from planning to execution. And of course, none of this can actually work if we don't have enterprise-grade infrastructure. We're going to have multi-region support. That means that your content platform stay up even if an entire region goes down. That's true disaster recovery for mission critical content operation. Q3 transform how your content teams operate with modern authoring tool, operational visibility, and of course, enterprise grade infrastructure. And for Q4, we're closing the year by completing our analytics vision and expanding the integration ecosystem. Conversion attribution, we need to move beyond just page views. So the conversion attribution lets you measure the actual business impact of your content. Which pieces of the content drive the conversions and brings you revenue and engagement. Along with that, engagement heat maps. You can visually have insights into how the users interact with your content and with your pages. See where they click, where they scroll, and how they engage, and everything directly within dotCMS. Content Drive workflows, powerful automation capabilities inside Content Drive. You can select multiple assets, trigger workflows actions in bulk, automate content operations, all from one workspace. And the integration fabric, we're laying the groundwork for a more connected dotCMS. Easier integration with the tools and services that your organization already use. By the end of the year, you'll have analytics that prove content ROI, streamlined workflows, and a more connected content platform. So let me bring everything together. Our 2026 vision includes, a bunch of planned capabilities across 3 strategic pillars: content authoring reimagined, AI-powered intelligence, and enterprise-grade platform. This positioning us, but more importantly you, for the AI-powered future of content operations.
Hello, I'm Jamie. I'm a technical writer at dotCMS. You could say I jot for the dot. And I'm here today to talk to you about a plugin that connects dotCMS to Shopify, and it is cleverly called the dotCMS Shopify Connector. You can grab this plugin over at our GitHub dotCMS community org under the repo com.dotcms.shopify. You get used to all the dots in this line of work. So the first thing you're going to want to do is clone the repo, and once you've got it in your IDE of choice, you can just build it with the command at the bottom of the README, little Maven command there. That command will spit out a jar file, and that will be what you use here. In the admin panel, you will go Settings, Plugins, and then you're just going to hit this Upload button right here. And there's not much to see. It gives you this, and you choose the file, and it takes care of itself, and then it deploys. And so what is it that we're connecting to? Well, chances are, if you're using Shopify, you know all about how you manage lists of products over here. And that's going to be now made available to your content on dotCMS. So still under settings, the next thing to do will be to go to the apps menu, and this is where we configure the plugin. So Shopify Connector, I've already got that open right here, and you're really only filling in these top two fields. They start out blank. For the store name, you're generally going to see that right in the URL path. And then the private access token, that lives under your headless settings. You manage your storefront API, and it's this one here that is mercifully, so I don't have to blur anything, obscured. Paste it right there, and once it's saved, it will likewise be obfuscated. To test your connection, just hit the Test Shopify Connection button, and you'll see Connection Success. So with that, we are rolling. What are we rolling to? Well, let's take a look at some of the things that we get with this plugin. These two content types, Shopify Collection and Shopify Product, those are both original with this, as are a whole series of folders that contain VTLs and GraphQL files. So with that, let's take it for a quick spin. I'll show you what it looks like right out of the box. But before I do that, actually, so I'm not gonna build a whole site to show it off. I'm just showcasing the plugin. It sounds very defensive when I say that, but I'm just indicating that I'm going to be using the pre-existing architecture here. So just to make my life a little easier, let's go back to the browser. I'm going to go into this container area and mark for copy, and then I'm just going to plug that into our default file-based container. Hit paste. So here it is. This is all the setup we needed. Now we create the page. Let's do snowy day shopping, let's call it. And we will set the template to the one I just modified, the default template, and hit publish. All right, so here we are, and as you can see, the Shopify product is already, actually both the Shopify product and the collection are both in their respective content types and widget homes here in the content palette. And we don't have any of those yet, so let's just drag the content type in, and it'll let us make one right on the spot. Let's do, we will call this Most Excellent Snowboard, and we will just type snowboard. And we have some choices here. Let's grab this one. And so what this just did is, so this is the content type, and it has a custom field that in that moment just pulled down the data straight from Shopify. If you click that link, you can actually go and look at it in its context. But the most important thing to note here is just that it pulls that data into a local contentlet at the moment that you perform these edits. In future fetches, and as you can see, there it is, when it fetches this data, it's only now drawing it from dotCMS. It's not going to be pulling it down from Shopify every time. It only does that when the contentlet is edited. So, and then if we go widgets, Shopify collection, we can do the exact same thing. Underneath, let's do bodacious skis. There we go. And we can set a number. Let's 5, 6 is fine. And you can set how they display their sorting, but let's leave it as is for now. We publish, and there it is. Displays right and pretty, and you can make your own rules for how it displays. And so we could say like low, comma, look upon my product. Grab that product data, dot title dot to uppercase. Why not? I'm going to update the container there, publish, and there it is. I just made an extremely silly edit to the container, but the point is that you can modify these components to suit your own needs, and you can also, furthermore, modify the plugin itself. So that is just a glimpse, a glimpse and glance becomes glamps. That's just a glance at what this can do in a traditional dotCMS environment. If you are running headlessly, obviously you will have to configure components for how to display the different content types, but you have additional tools at your disposal in the plugin that include REST API endpoints and the ability to call GraphQL and so on. You've got further options. So yeah, I hope this is of use to people, and I hope I made it look pretty easy to use, because honestly, it is pretty easy to use. Like this is real simple and real flexible if you are in the mood to meddle in the affairs of the technocracy. I don't know. What else do I have to say about this now? Thank you all for coming, and happy commerce, I guess.
Hello, I'm Marc Boutillette, part of the product management team here at dotCMS, and I am going to introduce you to our new content palette, which is part of our Universal Visual Editor. In case you're not familiar with the Universal Visual Editor, this is a tool where you can come in and manage all of your content on your pages in a more visual way. You can do things like inline editing. You can get to the edit content screens for different pieces of content. And of course, you can move content in and out of your different sections on your page. So for those of you who've been using the visual editor and are familiar with the content palette, the first thing you'll notice is that we've moved the content palette from the right-hand side over here to the left-hand side, just to get it away from all the other tools here and make it pretty, easier to access, all of the tools. And then we've made a few changes to the content palette as well. So the first thing we've done is if you had a lot of content types, you would have seen them and had to scroll down and you'd be using the search and be looking for them. Now what we've done is we have limited the content types that show up here to just the ones that are available on this page. And that's controlled by the different containers that are put on the page. So a container or a type of container will be associated to specific content types that can be used in that container. And now we've restricted the content types that will actually show up to the containers that are on this page. So you'll see a much more refined list here. The next thing we've done, just because people still do have lots of content types, is we've added some ways to sort the content types by, and then even to view them. So you can view them in more of a list view if you have a bunch, or more of that like grid view that we usually had there. Then what we've also done is we have separated out our content types from the widgets. So if you have like carousels and like more functionality that's in code snippets, then you can easily get to those versus really just content that you're working with to pull onto a page. And then the last thing we've done with the content palette is we created a favorites. Again, usually certain people are managing specific types of content over and over again. So you can come in here and filter through all the content types and add the ones that you want as favorites. And now they'll always show up here. So even when you're, going back and forth and coming back into the page and pulling up the content palette, all your favorites are right here and sticky. So you can easily get to them and pull them into your page. So that's our new content palette. And I hope it helps you be more efficient managing your content. Thanks. Hi, Marc here again. I'm going to introduce you to a really cool new feature that we have in our Universal Visual Editor called the Content Style Editor. And the Content Style Editor lets design teams and developers give a little more autonomy to content authors to control the styling and look and feel of content that they have on the page. The way you get to the Style Editor is a little style tool here. You click on that, it opens up a nice menu here on the left-hand side. It has all the controls for the piece of content that you're working on. And the types of things that you can adjust are like typography settings, like the font size and the font weight. You can change the layout, so you can move a picture around from right to left, or you can move the text around on the component, and you can change background colors for, say, an image or the background of an entire panel. And then you can change visual treatments like drop shadows or borders, or like make a rounded, a rounded corner on a button. And then you can even control responsive behavior. So to get started, the developer, design and brand, and content teams get together to decide what content they want to enable for style editing, and then establish the brand guidelines for each type of content. Then the development team sets up the configuration. So on the front end code, they create a style editor schema. And in that, they establish what content types they want to do styling for, and then establish all of the different controls. And we have lots of documentation for developers on the style editor, a quick start guide, and then just examples and best practices in here. We lay out all the different controls that you can use, like the input control or the drop down and checkbox and radio buttons. So all that's in our documentation. And then once the front end code's been updated and the style editor is configured, then content teams come into the UVE, just like I was showing before. And, you click on the control, it brings up the menu, and then they can start changing things, and they can easily kind of control different things like the fonts and, move things around. So you can see that like this is all pretty easy for a front end developer. You don't need or a front end content team, because you don't need knowledge of CSS. You don't need to know how to code. It's just all super easy to do. And then what else is nice is when you're styling different components, you can have the same component or the same content used on different sites or on different pages, or even within the same page, and you can style that component differently. So that really increases the reuse of content throughout your sites. Let's run through a quick example of adding a style property to a content type. So let's say that we want to allow content authors to add spacing to the title and the banner. And there's several ways to go about this, and several controls we could give them. But for our example here, we're just going to give them a simple input control where they can put in the amount of pixels they want in between each of the letters in the title here. And we'll make it dark first so we can see it easier. And the first thing that happens is the front end development team goes over to the front end code, and they're going to add the control. So we're going to just look for our banner controls, and we already have a control for the title size and one for the caption size, and then we have one here for the title style. So I'm going to add in another one here for an input field, and it's going to be called title spacing. And I'll save that. And then once we've updated the schema with the new control, we're going to go over to the banner, and we're going to add next to style properties. Just going to make this available for the banner. And of course, if you're using the SDK, everything's going to come up automatically. So we'll accept that one. And then we're going to go down and make it available in the title. And this is here, and add that there. So it's just going to add all of that control to the banner itself, and we'll save it. And then once I'm in the front end, all I have to do is refresh. And now when a content author comes in here to control the banner, they have a nice new control here called title spacing. And then they can add in an amount of pixels they want in between each of the letters in the title, and off you go. So nice, easy way to do that. So super easy to add a control. And then obviously super easy to use these controls and, move things around, change the layouts like we were talking about, and even like button colors and button styles and whatnot. So as you can see, this will save on developer time. So you don't need to go to the developers to, make all these little CSS changes. For content authors, you don't need to know coding. You don't need to know CSS to be able to make all these style changes. And then it increases the reusability of content throughout your site. So Content Style Editor is available this week to Evergreen customers, and right now only available to headless applications using our SDK. We're already working on making it available to natively rendered applications, and we'll have an update very soon. So thanks very much. Have a great day.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Fernandez, and I'm a PM here at dotCMS, and I'm going to be showing you what's coming up next in terms of the redesign that we're working on for dotCMS and a couple of other features that are coming down the pipeline for you. So to start with the redesign, we just want to give you a reminder that for the past year or so, the design team within dotCMS has been working really hard on looking at all of the different screens in our design system and just modernizing the technology behind it all. But not just the technology, also the patterns that we use to build each and every feature so that we can bring consistency to the platform and better organization of the features and the content to help you find your content more easily. So we built a new design system, or we're using a new design system. We are revamping the technology, and we are looking at each and every individual portlet in the hopes of finding more efficient ways of helping you build your content and work with your content. But this is a phased effort. So we're getting started with the technology, and we're getting started with the design system. And the first things you're going to see are the visuals around all of this. And it's actually coming up soon. We started work from a conceptual perspective last year or so. We started the actual work in the code last quarter of last year. And right now we're in the nitty gritty, but hopefully by Q2 or Q3, you're going to start seeing some of this in Evergreen. So just to give you an example of what this before and afters look like, this is what you currently see to the left when you encounter an empty page in dotCMS. To the right, you see what you're gonna see now with the newest patterns that we have built and standardized, with the newest visuals and with the newest technology. The list views, again, they've been optimized with these visuals to help you better parse the UI and to lower your cognitive dissonance. This is the grid views, how they look before and after. This is the edit content page, where you do most of the editing and creation of the content. So as you can see, it's cleaner, it's bigger, it's wider, there's less noise around it. And I'm actually gonna demo edit content in depth in a little bit after we're done discussing the redesign. This is an example of what the template builder is going to look like. The universal visual editor, as you can see, cleaner interfaces, just better patterns, and even simple things like dialogues needed to be standardized and brought to a more modern paradigm, which we're now going to be using across the board. The apps page, just optimized for reading and scannability. The permissions page, so that it's not just super overwhelming for you and you can more easily understand what permissions have been applied. The settings page with content that has been better organized for you to find the appropriate settings, and so on and so forth. So like I mentioned before, this is a phased redesign. We're starting with the technology, with the underlying technology and the visual aspect of things, the design system and the patterns. But eventually we're going to get into the actual details of the interactions and the flows in each of the pages in hopes of increasing your efficiency, improving the usability, and just make you overall trust dotCMS a lot more than you currently do. Thank you. Hi again. Now I'm going to show you what our new edit content experience looks like. And don't worry, this is the old one you're looking at. So as you can imagine, your content authors do spend a lot of time in this form or in this dialogue, creating new content and editing the existing content in the system. And to the right of the form, you see all of the workflow actions associated with that content item, but the form itself lives within a dialogue. So it's not really optimized for real estate. It's not just making the best use of real estate, and it's not optimized for data entry, and it's just not helping the content authors focus on what they're doing. So we decided to redesign this to make you more efficient, to make the content authors more efficient and optimize it for usability and optimize it so that they can focus on what's important, which is creating the content. So as you can see, this is the new experience, and now you can reclaim all of the real estate for the actual content. And it's really easy to use. You can just copy and paste text into it. If you have AI enabled, you can even generate text with AI or generate pictures with AI. It's really easy to get your pictures into the system. Drag and drop has been enabled and it's really responsive, as you can see. So we hope, and we have designed it in such a way that the content authors are going to be more effective and more efficient when creating content and getting it faster to market. So it's not just the form that has been redesigned, but the actual side panel is now more useful. You get several tabs. In the first one, you see all of the properties. In the second one, you can see all of the different versions that are available for that particular content item. And in the third one, you actually see who has saved, and you can even leave messages for people that are collaborating on the content item. And, you can do the back and forth conversation in here. And we're hoping this just helps content authors create better content and get it to market faster. You can see that all of the workflow actions now live in this bar above the content, and that's typical for other systems. So your users will be able to transfer paradigms from other systems into dotCMS and just have an easier time. Now you'll notice this blue bar is available here, and it's announcing that this is the actual new edit content experience. That's there to enable you to revert to the previous version at any time in case you need to, because we're still in beta. We're hoping to release in Q3 or Q4 this year the whole experience, but we're busy testing. We're making sure that everything is going to work out for everyone. But if you want to give it a try, if you want to give it a go, you can right now. It is available for Evergreen customers, and in order to enable it for your individual content types, you just have to go to the content types page and open any particular content type that you want to use the new experience for. And in there, you're going to see a bar that will enable you to enable it or disable it accordingly. So you can just do that, and your users will get the new experience or keep using the old experience for any particular content type. Thanks. Hello. Now it's time to show you our new content drive. You're probably familiar with this screen, which is the content search screen. And if you recall, there's no ability to create folders in here. If you select something, the available workflow actions show up in this dialog. And search is kind of complicated and cumbersome. You cannot get rid of this panel either, so it doesn't make the best use of a space. And this was designed a while ago. So again, we wanted to optimize for usability and for efficiency. So we took the opportunity to create a new portlet that we're calling Content Drive. And this feature is currently in development. So you can try it out, but it's not even in beta. We just got started with it. But the first thing you'll notice is that now you can have folders and files within your content drive, within your content search. And this side panel right here, where you see all of your folders for easy access, can actually be collapsed if you want to regain real estate. So if you open or create a new folder, now you're welcome with more useful and usable empty pages that guide you through the process of creating new content or getting your content into the system. Drag and drop has been enabled, so it's really easy for you to get your stuff into the system. And it's currently in development, so you're going to notice a glitch here or there. Like this one, I was only able to upload one file at a time, but that's obviously going to be fixed before we release. But in general, it just makes of the content search experience and even the site search experience a much better experience for you, more modern, more like OneDrive or Google Drive, where you can transfer that paradigm into dotCMS really easy, you or your users. And you'll notice that if I don't select anything, you have the primary button, which enables you to create new folders really quickly. The advanced configuration is hidden under a secondary tab. It's just optimized for speed. Just give me the name of the folder as usual. like everywhere else, and then you just go on with your day. And getting your files into the system was really easy. Like I showed you, there's search, there's filters. You can say, I only want to see my content type of blog type. So I only want to see my blogs, and I can even filter further to say only those in English, right? So all of that can be enabled, and you can play with it. One thing that I wanted to show you, the workflow actions, they're no longer buried in that dialog. So if you select something, the primary button refreshes to show you the secondary actions associated with that item, and there's even bulk actions available, so that if you select more than one item, there's commands available for the bulk of them. There's also this more menu that's associated with each particular item that you select, and that can be shown as well for each of your items. So there's several ways to accomplish the actions that you want to accomplish for your items, be it one or many. So this feature is in development. If you want to try it out, you can just go to your roles and tools. Let me show you right here. And when you go to your roles and tools and you try to add a new tool group, or even if you already have a tool group in there, let's say you have a tool group called content, like I do over here, you can just search for the tools in here, and you're going to find Content Drive. And then you can quickly add it to your navigation and make it available. And like I said, it's going to show this this notification that the feature is currently in development. So there may be an issue or two, but if you want to try it out early and you want to give us feedback about it, there's a link in that notification bar with Learn More that will take you directly to the community where we're discussing this new feature, and you can leave that feedback. And there's even a demo in here to remind you of everything that I just showed you. But it's a really lightweight dam, so to speak. And like I mentioned before, we're hoping to transfer all existing paradigms out there for file management and bring them into dotCMS to make your life and the lives of your users a lot easier. Thanks.
Let me show you a little demo about dotCMS analytics. This is the dashboard for page views, and we can see some quick numbers, page views, unique visitors, top performing page. You can see your page views on a timeline. You can see your page views per device and browser, and you can see all your top performing pages. Of course, in this case, it's the home page, but you can see that product headless has a page view of this 100, and so on and so forth. This is pretty standard analytics information, but we also have engagement. And engagement is basically a calculation that we do, and we use an industry standard formula. This is how it gets calculated in our case. Users that spend at least 10 seconds on the site, or that clicks in any content, like a button or a link or a widget. And very soon this is going to include conversions. So here you can see that the engagement rate at this point is 45% and is 8% up since last previous 7 days. We can see an engagement trends for 60 days. We can see the average interaction number. We can see the average session time. We can see the total of sessions. And of course, we can see the engagement breakdown, the engaged sessions versus the bounce sessions, right? And of course, we can see the engagement per device, per browser, and per language. This is all for free. You don't have to set up everything. We are providing the SDK for headless, but for traditional channels, this will be just in your dotCMS pages when you get it enabled. We also have conversions, but conversion is a work in progress. However, I want to show you the prototype. This is a prototype that we have for conversions. A conversion is a specific event that you can trigger on any conversions that you would like to track. Typical examples are visitor download a file, or completed a form, or submit a form, or hit a button like add to cart, right? All those can be conversions. And the cool thing about conversion is that you can have the user journey. So for example, for form submissions, you can see what are the top attributed content to that conversion. That means that during the user journey, the user visited all these pieces of content. That could be because a content impression or a page view. Here, for example, you can see the content present in conversions. And you can see the counts and the conversions and what's the rate. Sometimes the content just get the page view, but it doesn't drive the conversion. So that's the conversion rate. We can see the conversion by trends. We can see the traffic versus conversions. And of course, we can see like big numbers, right? We can see total conversions, the conversion visitors, the overall site conversion rate, and the content conversion rate. And of course, you can create a conversion. So you can come to conversions, and here you can define the conversion. You can in this idea, in this UI, the idea is you can click in a button and you can set when the element gets to click, I'm gonna save that as a conversion. Or if it's a thank you page, when the page view of that page, when the page loads, and that's a conversion. And you can add referrals. You can add referrals from your campaigns, from Google, from Facebook, email. You can add query params as well, and that will track the conversion. And that's what I wanted to show you about dotCMS Analytics. See you soon. Hello, my name is Freddy Montes, and I am VP of Product here at dotCMS. And today I want to show you the near future of UVE and the next future of UVE, or Universal Visual Editor. So let's go. As you can see here, we clean up the UI a little bit. Now we can move faster between sections. It doesn't reload the full page. We can toggle the panel, which we already have. But now we got a new panel that I'll show you in a bit. So let's start here. You can see that now we can toggle the panel. And we got a new tab right here that is called Layers. So Layers is a minimap of the rows and the columns. So you can expand this and see the columns. You can see it right here. And as you suspect, we can drag and drop and reorder rows very quick without having to go to the layout editor and lose the context of the page. And of course, you can do the same with the columns. So I can move this column up and it moves to the position. Along with that, you can double click to rename a row so it's easier for you to locate. The next thing is we added zoom. Zoom in and zoom out. And this is basically for you to control the space on where you are editing, especially in smaller screens. Now, what is this right panel about? So now when you hover, you see this little selector background. So you can now select a contentlet. And if you expand this panel, you're going to have an in context edit content screen or edit content panel. That basically allows you, so you can change some things right here, and you can save. And it changed right away. You can still open the full edit content screen, but sometimes you just need to edit something real quick. For now, I'm showing you just text fields. But we're going to expand. We're going to have image fields, categories, relationship fields, all of those, right? You already see somehow we got the style editor, and the style editor allows you to change the look and feel of a component. All this form is defined by the developers, is in our SDK. So you can make the title bold, you can make the title extra large, you can change, for example, the button color, you can align the text to the left or to the right, to the center. And all this is driven by governance using our SDK. So you will have still branding controls based on this. If you select another content type or another contentlet, the options are different. This is going to be out by the end of Q1. Is already internally being in testing. and we're ready to roll this out for everybody. Now, this is UVE in the immediate future. But I want to show you, where do we want to take Universal Visual Editor? How do we want to make channel creation better and faster? And of course, using AI. So what you're seeing here is a prototype that we put together to showcase where do we want to take UVE next. So on the left, we can navigate the pages super quick. Of course, this is a file system, the dotCMS file system. We can have analytics, the page views, the unique visitor, the average station time, conversion rates. We can have all that information coming straight from our analytics. We can have AI recommendations for GEO, SEO. We can have experiments, and you can see side by side the experiments variants. And we can have some kind of personalization where you can prompt to create versions of the page for personalization. That's on the left side panel. Now, on the right side panel, we want to include what we're calling primitive. And those are just text, images, button, links, table, list, paragraph. Basically, pieces of content that are not necessarily attached to a content type that allows you to enrich your page, basically a one-off element for the page. But we still have our content types, media, layouts. Of course, we can see this in table. We can zoom in and out. We can rotate. We can resize and everything, right? So this is where we want to take the design view of UVE. But we want to introduce the dev view of UVE. And the dev view is very similar, with the difference that you will have access to the component code that is driving this page. Whether it's headless or traditional, it doesn't matter. And you can prompt and use AI to improve this component, to fix it, to add new components, everything. And of course, you can push those changes straight to your GitHub repo when you're ready to do so. But we also have AI mode. And AI mode is a way more cleaner UVE, where basically you will use prompting to modify your pages, to create new variants, to personalize, to optimize for SEO, to update the design. You can use add to select contentlets and put it into the context of the prompt, or to select sections and layouts, to select images, to add personas to it, to add experiments and variants, all these by just prompting. And this is how the future of dotCMS looks like. This is what we are imagining. And we definitely want your feedback. What do you think about this? It makes sense, but this is where we want to take it. And we already experimented with AI and the different AI providers in order to be able to support this in a safe, governed, and private way for you enterprise companies.
Hello everyone, Steve Freudenthaler here from dotCMS Engineering, and today I'm excited to share with you what we've been up to over the past few quarters with dotCMS Cloud and .Evergreen. So we'll start with the Evergreen update. Before we get into stats or features, I'm going to start with our North Star. Our destination is a world where releases no longer cause anxiety or stress. We aim to release often with confidence, making our new improvements exciting for everyone to enjoy. Now we can have a quick look at how it's been playing out. And it's a really fun and exciting slide for us to share. Just in the last few quarters here, we've seen a 35% increase in Evergreen adoption. We blew past our 50% adoption goal of 2025, and we're really excited with the trend that's been going on. Specifically, what we see here is a good chunk of that growth coming from existing LTS customers or environments moving to Evergreen and having success in doing so. And that's a big milestone for our customers, but also for ourselves. That's a really, really great thing for us to see and hear feedback from customers on. Of note here is our new and our last LTS designation, which is 2507, and our 2404 has gone end of life since the last time I spoke with you. This year, we have a pretty lofty goal of 80%. We think of 80% Evergreen adoption, that is. We think we can get there by shipping the features that you folks have asked for self-service and timing, and a short-term delay between our absolute latest release and the version that you're running. So we'll be busy working on those, and we expect that to translate to more Evergreen adoption, and happier customer base. And yeah, that's an exciting thing for us. So up next is something new. We've been working on it for a really long time, at least a year and a half. But it's something new that I want to share with you folks, and that's seamless upgrades. And we're talking to our North Star about making them non-event things. These zero downtime updates are now for production workloads, and they're ready to go, and we've been using them. What this means for you and for your teams is that in your production workloads, dotCMS updates are seamless. That means both front end and back end workloads are not interrupted as we roll out that update. That's a huge breakthrough when we consider that in previous LTS to LTS updates, there's been hours long or days long change freezes. There's been parallel environments for weeks or months on end, and projects leaking into the multi-quarter scope. This unlocks much faster, much higher confidence release cadence for you and for your customers. Really exciting stuff. Oh, my image is in the wrong place here. Let me move that for you in case you're reading the slide. Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of work, but this is really, really cool to see. Again, for today, this is for production workloads. As this continues on through the year, you'll be seeing this kind of trickle through to your auth and UAT environments as well. Okay, there's no charge for this. This is stuff we built in cloud and are enabling for you by default. All right, the next one, a new feature. I think some folks have heard about it, but in case you haven't, we've got this new feature, multi-region resiliency. Love to share with you what it means. Market's been really happy with it. This is in response to one of the more recent outages in Q4 from AWS. They had a US East region outage, and immediately became apparent for us that lots of our customers have an audience beyond the US East region. And so if that region is down because AWS has a problem or a telco has a problem, yes, that means the people in the US East might not be able to get to your site, but the rest of the world also now can't get to your site because that region's down. So these single region deployments have high availability within the region, but if there's a regional problem, the entire world is impacted. There are things like CDN implementations that you can do to mitigate against that, but we wanted to share multi-region resiliency, which is a way to use push publishing and dotCMS to be able to solve that problem. In this case, you can have two regions, one in US East in the example I gave. The other one could be in Canada or EU or Australia, really anywhere dotCMS has a region to purchase from. And then the magic happens. If one of those regions goes down, there's automatic failover. If both regions are healthy, then they both split the traffic, meaning a better user experience. So if you've got a region in the EU and a region in the US, and your visitor is visiting from, say, Germany, they will automatically be routed to that German region, and they will experience a much more performant result. When there's a failure in a region, again, automatic, under a minute, failover happens. Users don't expect it. Your ops and DevOps teams and your network operations centers, they don't have to get up. It happens, it fails over, and when the new region, the region that went down comes back online, traffic splits again automatically. Really exciting stuff. We're leveraging existing tools like push publishing and some new infrastructure we integrated with AWS on called Global Accelerator to make this happen. Really nice stuff, really cool feature, seeing great response in the market from it. Okay. The next thing, of course, is data sovereignty. And so today I'm also going to let you know that we have a new region open in the US West for these multi-region failover workloads. And that gives us, for our US customer base today, that gives us a multi-region resiliency option that also continues to meet the stringent data sovereignty and compliance requirements that many of you folks will have. And so this is a really nice example of being able to partner with AWS and to use multiple regions they have within a single country to meet that data sovereignty requirement. We're going to see how the feedback on this is for other regions. There are other places in the world or even other cloud providers we could look at based on feedback to be able to do data sovereignty or multi-region between multiple cloud providers. So stay tuned for that. Keep giving us your feedback. That helps shape what we decide to do next with this nice new feature. Up next will be a usage tool. So this one, as we move more and more to enabling you folks as users, it became apparent to us through feedback that stakeholders are having some gaps in what they can do with their folks. And so we're going to start to expose a new tool called the usage tool. It'll be in dotCMS as a tool. It's actually in Evergreen today. I'm going to demo it in a few minutes here. And this tool will allow you to get an understanding of how you're using or how your organization is leveraging dotCMS. So things like content items, content types, counts of those types of things, active users, sites, workflows, those types of things. And those will help you inform decisions on, say, your content architecture or even your dotCMS publishing architecture. And this is under very active development right now. So we are looking for feedback again on what's valuable and what's useful for folks. Note here that today all the data is on machine, which is to say it can only see the stats of that dotCMS instance. So if you have an auth and a UAT and a prod, the usage tool would only see the environment that you're on. So if you're in the prod environment, you'd only see the prod usage tool. Coming this year, we will also have the ability to see across your environments. So we will keep the one environment view, which was feedback folks gave us, but we will also introduce a view that we'll be able to see across your whole dotCMS publishing architecture. And with that, I'm going to pause, get a drink of water, and I'll be right back for a live demo. Okay, I'm back. As promised, here's a quick little demo of our usage tool. As I mentioned, it's under active development right now. It's early stages, but it is available for everyone that's on Evergreen to turn it on. And to turn on our usage dashboard or our usage tool, you're going to go into settings, roles, and tools. You can pick anything off this left nav. Then we're going to click on tools. And I'm going to put mine under the settings area. I think that's a good place for it. And so I'm going to click on settings. And now I can type usage in. And we'll be able to find that tool, add it, which adds it to the bottom. As soon as I save, here we go. I can see my usage tool at the bottom now. Okay, so here I come. Very basic, like I said, early stages. A couple things to note. We call out very clearly this is under development. When this gets a bit more stable and less likely to change in our confidence builds, this will move to beta and the banner will change. And then ultimately when it goes general availability, that will reflect as well. Expect that this might change version to version of dotCMS. Okay, last thing to note here is that the data here refreshes and is cached between 3 and 5 minutes. And that's a safety measure right now as it's under active development. We want to see how it performs. We want to see how people use it. And we certainly don't want to be creating unnecessary workloads on the system that might not be productive. And so if you see the data change, or if you see it a few minutes for the data to change, that's what's going on. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this change to show. So I'm going to go to workflows. I'm going to add a new workflow. And we'll just name this one demo, usage tool, right? And we'll save it. We don't need that workflow to do anything at this point because we're just going to show. And here we go right now. We were at 2 and now we're at 3. Simple demo, more coming, content types, content items, all that stuff is coming, and we'll be excited to show it to you and excited for you to follow along with the feature as we push it out. Thanks.